for the party, to get naughty, get my rocks on, eat popcorn, watch you move your body to the pop song that I'm singing, ding-a-linging, funky beats ringing, everybody swinging in the place.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about, man. Woo! What an intro song. That goes out to Christopher Lane, man. That was pretty awesome. That was a great choice for tonight. My name is John
Same
Lane.
song.
What's that?
Same song.
Same song, baby. All right, just give me a few seconds here. We're gonna make sure we got everything up and running. This is our first time running on live, so we're gonna go ahead and bring us up live here. There we go. All right, I think we're up and live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is John Lane. These are my brothers. I got Chris Lane over there with the pumpkin. I got Dave Lane down below with me, and we're gonna have some drinks tonight. We're gonna talk a little bit about the Dallas Cowboys and some of the NFL and some other stuff. So grab yourself a drink, sit down, and welcome to Lane Nation, our first live video podcast. Pretty exciting. What do you guys think, Chris?
Looking forward to it, man. It's been a while. We took some time off there, and we all got busy. So looking forward to getting back into it.
How about you, Dave?
Well, it's October, so we're going to talk football, right?
Yeah.
We got some Cowboy stuff. We're going to maybe talk a little bit about college and everywhere else around the NFL. So we got some good stuff today.
Great, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited. So tonight is going to be an interesting podcast. The last couple of them we've scripted a little bit. We've written a few notes down, but our goal was always to just kind of get online here and talk like we do on a Friday or Saturday night. We get on a three-way call and we just kind of chat it up, and that's what we're going to shoot for tonight. So I'm going to start it off, and one of my favorite stories about the Dallas Cowboys and really how it all began. Was how I became a Cowboys fan. So growing up in South Dakota, as most of you know, most of those folks up there, Minnesota, a few Denver fans, not too many Cowboy fans, especially up there in Sioux Falls. But I had an opportunity to go down to Dallas. My Aunt Jenny and Uncle Gordon were there. I was staying with them for a few days. The Dallas Cowboys had just lost a playoff game. I believe it was the Philadelphia Eagles. And my Aunt Jenny had heard on the radio that fans can go down to Love Airport there and hang out and cheer the Cowboys back, and welcome them back even though they lost. Let them know the love's still there. So we did it. We drove out there to Love Airport. Whew, I was excited, man. I'm not even sure how old I was. I want to say, if I had to guess, maybe 5, 6, 7 at the most. So we get there, and I see the planes. They're already there, and I remember we came in a van, and I was up on the van at first, up top, so I could get a good look. But then the first plane opened up, and it was the cheerleaders. So I was like, oh, okay. So the players are on the other plane, the cheerleaders are on this plane, and the cheerleaders are coming off. And I get off the van, and there's a crowd all the way up to the fence. Most people have like pins and autographs. And I'm just working my way up to the front. I get down on my hands and knees and I get all the way up to the fence. And I'm just standing there and the cheerleader's like right next to me already. She's already coming up. There's a line of them coming down. And she comes up to me and she goes, "Do you have something for me to sign?" And I was like, I don't. And I go, "But I would like a kiss." And she said, she goes, "I'll tell you what, if you put your cheek up to the fence and promise that you will be a Dallas Cowboy fan for life, I'll give you a kiss." I'm like, man, this is like a dream, right? This can't be real. I'm going to get a kiss from a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. Whew. So I did it. I put my cheek up there. She gave me a nice little kiss. I remember it was a cold night, and that was it, man. That was my story. After that, I've made a promise. I've been a fan ever since. Been through some great times, been through some really bad times. Um, we put up with a lot of crazy stuff, putting up with other people's, reactions to the Cowboys and how much they hate us or all that good stuff. But it's a ride that I would not. If I had to go back, I'd do it all over again. And hopefully we'll get to the promised land again, and we'll get another Super Bowl. So this year is a very unique opportunity that myself and Mary and some of my family members are having opportunities to do is go to some games. So I'm planning on going to two games this year. The first game was week 3 against the Chargers. I went out to LA, saw the new stadium. Just Mary and myself, the two of us went out there. This was a nice little trip out to LA. We flew out on a Saturday. Um, got there, got a little rental car, drove up the beach a little bit, stopped in Malibu. Chris was kind of giving me crap about stopping in Malibu. But we,
Well, you were having a drink on the beach, looking out in the ocean in Malibu. I was like, I don't even know you right now, man.
right? Not a big California fan, but it was a nice little drive up there. And we got back down. Next day was the game. We got up early. Mary and I were having some breakfast. I had a lift already scheduled um, for, I believe, like 9:30, maybe something like that. And we were eating breakfast. We got done early, maybe like 9 o'clock. So Mary gave me a suggestion, said, "Why don't we cancel it and pick up another lift and get over there early?" I said, "Well, let me see what's available." Sure enough, we found one, canceled the other one, got down to the stadium. It was pretty close. It was only like a 10-minute drive. And we get there super early, get out of the lift. We got the view of the stadium right there, and you're just kind of in awe, taking pictures and kind of taking it in. And then we just decided to walk around, and we walked a few feet. And Mary said, "Look at that drone up there." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, there is. There's a little drone over there." And I look up to the right, and I can see the NFL building. So it's right next to the stadium, NFL offices there in LA. And then on the very end is NFL game day, and they have their outdoor set out there. So some of the fans were along the fence line. So we hurried over there and just kind of started watching NFL game day. The little clip where they go outside. They had Jerry Jones on as a special guest. Michael Irvin was out there. He was getting the crowd all fired up, and there was a lot of Cowboys fans. We knew it before the game started. It felt like it was going to be not a home game, but definitely not a road game. So they were filming this, the scene from that morning, and in between shots, Michael Irvin comes over and he's high fiving everybody, and I got my phone up there and I'm filming it. And I'm high fiving Mike Irvin, and I'm like, this is Hollywood, man. This is insane right now. I am over here high fiving Michael Irvin, just acting like a little kid. And I tried to get up close to Jerry Jones, but he was moving so quick. He's actually pretty fast for an old man. Um, but I got up pretty close to him. And then, of course, the other highlight when I was up there, Kurt Warner's on that set. So in between sets, he's got his football, and he starts walking towards the fence line, and I'm like, "Hey, throw it here, throw it here!" And I couldn't believe it. He cocked his arm back. The kid from Iowa that worked at Hy-Vee, right? So he's back there, and he fires me the ball, and I'm like, the only thing I can think of is don't drop this ball because everybody's watching, right? So I caught it and threw it back, and I'm like, I'm playing catch with Kurt Warner, high five, and Michael Irvin, and I haven't even been inside the stadium yet. I'm like, whew, this day's gonna go be great. But we went into that game. Most of you guys already know now that Cowboys squeaked out of there with a field goal at the very end. Beautiful stadium, had a great time. Charger fans were awesome, so I'm gonna give them the thumbs up. Um, yeah, it was a great weekend. We came home with the win. Uh, Mary and I don't always have good experiences on the road. We actually went to a game in Houston, and those fans weren't quite as nice to were they, Dave?
That was pretty rough, but
Yeah,
it's we've been to some Cowboys games and I think the Metrodome too, and it's never
yeah,
fun. It's never fun seeing your team at an away stadium. I mean, the fans always get to you, but
yeah,
that's what it's about.
yeah, yeah. So that's been my little introduction here to the Dallas Cowboys. We'll talk a little bit more, maybe some college or some other stuff here, but I'm gonna take a break here and get a drink and turn this over to Dave and see what he's got to say.
That's great. A lot of people out there, listeners, families, and friends. I don't know if you've all ever heard us talk about this, but we always like to say Johnny's kind of like the Forrest Gump of the family. He's out there. He's been on a Lakers bench in Hawaii. He's met a president. He just seems to be at the right place at the right time. And the last weekend out in LA was no different. We're playing catch with Kurt Warner from the old grocery boy from Hy-Vee in Iowa. So it's just classic
Yeah,
story
it was
for sure.
awesome. Definitely.
No, but it's crazy. We're you hear from a lot of non-Cowboy fans is what have you done for lately, that kind of story. Cowboys haven't really done anything in 25 years, but I think the headline right now is Dak is back.
Woo!
He is, man. He's on fire, and I don't think anybody expected him to be playing at this level so quickly. In fact, earlier this week, Peyton Manning came out and I don't know, he was interviewed or whatever. He said, keep Dak in mind for the MVP discussion. And I think, he was serious about it. I mean, and it's no joke. He's out there throwing it. I was just looking quickly. He's got almost 900 yards passing. He's throwing at 78% percentage completion right now. That's crazy. So, but when we talk about the Cowboys, I'm like, Dak can't carry this team, right? I mean, he does carry him on their shoulders, but we need other guys to step up, and we're finally starting to see that. Like with our backup running back Tony Pollard. He's carrying the ball. Yeah. I mean, him and Zeke both have almost 200 yards rushing each. But defensively, we're starting to see some good stuff come out, that's been our struggle for years. It seems like we got second year Trayvon Diggs coming out, 3 interceptions already, dude.
Man,
I mean,
baller.
when have we had a cornerback come out? Has it been prime time, or have we had somebody else? I can't remember, man. I mean, 3 interceptions in the first 3 games. That's great. And then our rookie, our first round rookie, Micah Parsons out of Penn State. He's looking great. I think he's second or third in tackles in the team. He's looking good, starting to come out as one of the leaders for the defense. So, but I'm excited. It's after what happened last year with Dak's gruesome injury, and what was it, week 2 or 3, guys? You remember?
Oh, it was actually like 5.
5, yeah. Because
Yeah,
they were 1-3, and they weren't looking very good anyhow.
Yeah, and that was scary. I mean, because you're like, we didn't. At the time, I was like, we're screwed next year too. But I can't believe we're sitting here in the first week in October, sitting at 2-1. Defense is looking great, and I'm excited. That's Cowboys are looking good, and they're in the conversation. I mean, Chiefs seem to be a little bit off their game, and I mean, Bucks are doing their thing, but we hung with them. So I'm excited with CeeDee Lamb, Cooper. Our receiving corps are solid. So pretty pumped up for this year. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, good stuff, Dave. Good stories, John. I always love to hear that cheerleader story. It's classic. And like Dave said, you're the Forrest Gump of the family, man. I don't know how you do that, but yeah, I got stories about I could tell that might take a little while about being a Cowboys fan and what it means to me, and there'll be a time and place for that. I will say my favorite holiday by far, bar none, is Thanksgiving because of the Cowboys and our family. And it just, growing up in South Dakota, in the 80s and 90s, before the NFL ticket and all that, that might have been the one shot we got to see the Cowboys because they weren't very good. Yeah. And just, they do mean a lot to our family for more than just football reasons, I think. It always seems like a reason to gather, get together, share good food, times, and memories, and stuff like that. So, love to hear that story, John. Dave, I want to touch on Dak. I I really hope the Cowboys, like you were saying, they put enough pieces around this kid because he is a fantastic leader. His attitude, like even when he got injured, he was, seeing him get carted off the field, and he cares. I mean, and I think he gets people behind him. So he's the leader. I believe if they put enough around him, this team can be something. This defense uh, last year depressed me, and it made it hard for me to watch football. Like they were historically bad.
Yep.
And coming into this season, I was really skeptical on how they could be. I'm optimistic. We very well could be 1-2. I don't know how the game always comes across on TV different than live, John. On TV, I felt like San Diego gave that game away and the Cowboys didn't really win it. Um,
Yeah.
so at the end of the day, I still feel like, but hey, we hung with the Patriots. The defense is looking better. That offense is loaded. Um, and even the tight ends are producing, and like I looked up stats too, and I was looking up like the receiving yards leaders. We're nowhere near the top because it's so spread out. And but yeah, it's looking forward to the season. Diggs has got me excited.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know why I've always liked cornerbacks. They play with the cockiness and like an attitude, and when you got a good one, you feel like your defense has a chance of making stops and getting off the field and shit like that. But I think the one thing I'm most excited about this year, right now through 3 games, is the energy and the excitement and how fast this team is playing, and that looks good. The defense is playing fast. They're reacting. Like you said, Parsons. I think our linebackers are playing a little bit better. So yeah, there's reason for hope. But the last 25, 30 years, like you were saying, Dave, you know, what have we done lately? We've had great teams. They made the playoffs, and then we're crying in our beer. And
Yeah, and Chris, I had asked you, and it's hard to tell because we talk through text, and for those that don't know, Chris, he has a sense of humor. It's just you can't always detect it in the text. So, when I'm talking, I sometimes I have to ask Dave. I'm like, Dave, what's going? Is he being serious right now? Like I'll have a sidebar with him on a side text. I'm like, Dave, what's going on with Chris? He's like, oh, I don't know. He's having one of those
Question
days.
mark.
Yeah, question mark. He's like, he gives me the emoji with the shrugging shoulders. Like, I don't know.
that's what I'm going. That's what I'm going for, though. Like mix it up a little bit.
But you did. You were being real negative, and I understood why. You weren't real excited. I was. I was watching Hard Knocks, which was I thought not necessarily the best one I've seen, but it's always nice to get
Yeah.
that inside look on your team. And what I did see in there was what you guys were talking about with Dak is his passion. Um, when he had hurt his shoulder during training camp, and they didn't want to play him in preseason, and you seen him at practice, like he was trying to go out when they told him no. Like he is fired up and focused this year, and if he can keep that, and we keep our healthy line, the sky's the limit. We can compete with anybody in this league. I think we've proven that first for the first 3 weeks. This week we got Carolina coming up tomorrow. So let's talk about that for a second. Carolina's coming in 3-0. We're 2-1 after some close games, like Chris was talking about. But Carolina hasn't played anybody too impressive. Their McCaffrey's out, and they have another corner or something out, safety.
Good point. I forgot about McCaffrey being out. That does help
Yeah,
for
so
sure.
so we are going to be favorites going into that game. I think the last time I checked, according to DraftKings, not promoting them, but I am winning some from them. I think
What's
it
the
was,
line?
yeah, I think it's 3.5 right now.
That's it
Yeah. Um,
They're three
in
and zero.
Dallas.
yeah, they're 3-0, I guess. I mean, if you look at the NFL rankings this week, you always get those like couple moments. I mean, they get most of them right. You know how you would rank the teams, based on how they played that week going into, after week 3. And to see the Chargers ahead of us was a little frustrating. Um, you know, I know they did have a big win last week against um, who was that? Kansas City, right?
Tampa.
Tampa,
Oh no, yeah, Kansas City on the
Kansas
road.
City,
Yeah, on the
Kansas
Yeah.
City.
road.
So that was so I
And
guess
that,
that they have us
and
ranked
that's
ahead
what I
of
mean
us.
about the Cowboys' victory over the Chargers. Like I felt like the Chargers gave it away, and I think that's why the Chargers are favored in the power rankings because I don't know,
Yeah,
they're pretty
so
good.
it's funny when you were talking, Chris, you had asked, what is it like on TV versus being there live? And
Yeah.
I was there live. I watched it. A lot of the action, I was in the end zone in like the second tier, but most of the action was on the other side. I had great views of how things were happening, but I wasn't getting close looks. And I wasn't, they have the big scoreboard, the round three, 360, 4K, whatever it is. Big thumbs down from me, man. I didn't like it. But yeah, I think if you're down in the lower section and you can see up, maybe. But in my section, it did absolutely nothing for me. They didn't do any NFL updates there. I didn't realize everything that was going on in the game. The callbacks. There was two touchdowns that were called back, right? Um,
Yeah.
and then the play right before halftime where which almost returned the kick, remember? And they pitched it out to Zeke and he gets knocked out. And from
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
my angle, I thought he was, at least close enough to get a look. But obviously, when I rewatched it on TV, I was like, it wasn't even close. So, you have that balance of, some good stuff. I wouldn't want to be at a game, for my team every week at the stadium um, unless I had amazing box seats, or something like that. Because the seats are tight. First of all, I'm not, a huge guy, but I got on that seat and it was tight. So
Even in the second level.
yeah, yeah, those seats were small. Like if I had a big butt or somebody comes in there overweight, I felt bad for him, man, because it was probably tough to get in there. So I got one more story. I know I told you guys, but I'm just gonna talk about it real quick. Those two fans. So I said how great the Charger fans were. We had two guys next to us that just very young. They got so drunk that one of them pissed their pants. The other guy was
Wow.
almost puking.
It's sad.
Yeah, he was puking on it. I went and told security. I was like, I hate to tell on my own people, man, but those two Cowboy fans got to get the hell out of here. They were dropping dollar bills like we were at the strip club from the second level up there on the way down, and it was
Classic.
just,
Sometimes football fans can be the worst, man. And
yeah,
I think, our fan base can be blamed for a lot of that. And that's why a lot of us, especially when our team's good,
yeah,
there's too many people that talk shit and just like, I don't know. We're not those fans, just to be clear to everybody.
yeah,
We
yeah,
actually care about the team and we grew up loving them and
yeah,
it's different for us and we respect other fans a little bit.
yeah, a little bit.
Well, I mean, it's football. You can't
Yeah,
like.
yeah. I will tell you this. Because neither one of you guys have had to experience this yet, but to be in a relationship with somebody that is a Cowboys fan, that's a whole new level. I mean that's just it makes it so much better. Um, I used to have everybody over, as you guys know, like when I was at the house on Mayberry, I used to have all my friends would come over. I'd have all the Cowboy fans, and we'd be in there, and do a big barbecue, and we do that for every home game. And when we came here, we did it for the first year, and then COVID hit. So last year it was just Mary and I, and then the season wasn't great anyways because there was no fans. Dak goes down. So you lost interest last year, and the whole off season. All I can think about is Dak and the surgery that he's going to have, and how he's going to come out. I was talking to my son Jordan, and we were talking about injuries on how quick athletes bounce back. I mean, there's players that would have career-ending injuries, now that back if they would have done it, 20 years ago, they've been done. This now these guys are coming back better than ever. It's like they're putting some bionic
Yeah,
stuff in them and they're recovering
Crazy.
quicker. So yeah, I mean it's great to see how healthy he is and how great he's back. And um, I think he's got a great chance of NFL Comeback Player of the Year for sure.
Maybe even MVP.
MVP possibly. It's a little early. I want to get those stats
Yeah.
going. We
Hey,
got.
Peyton Manning said it. I didn't say it.
Yeah, he did. I listened to their podcast over there on the Deuce. We listened to it for a little bit, and it was fun listening to him, and it kind of reminded of me of what we're doing right now. Just talking some football, some brothers. Of course, we didn't play in the
Yeah.
NFL, but
I love
we we are big fans of the Cowboys, so I think we fall in some kind of
I like
category.
what I liked what Eli Manning said too about Dak. He goes, "Yo, his hips don't lie."
He, he was, did you did
And
you see?
they cut to the picture of him doing the hip shake in the
Yeah, he's doing
pregame.
the twist or whatever. Did you see he got busted doing flipping off too?
I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, he flipped off the screen or whatever. ABC was all upset and told him he can't do that no more.
Dak.
Yeah, no, Eli.
Eli.
That's even better.
So yeah, that's pretty good little stream going on there. So what about college football? I mean, we can talk a little bit about that for a few minutes. I like what's going on with Texas. They got another win today, right?
Yep. Potential Heisman running back there out of Tucson, right?
Yeah, a local boy. He actually went to South Point High School here and um, decided to go down to Texas. This is what is it, second or third year?
I think it's second, right? It's
Second year.
Robinson is his
Yep,
name.
yep. B.J.
Yeah,
Robinson.
Robinson.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's a beast, huh?
oh so hard to tackle, man. He gets those extra yards for sure.
Golly. Yeah, he's fun to watch.
Yeah, so
It might be okay. Defense is I mean, UT, hopefully. I mean, they lost to, was it Arkansas?
yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
but
so hey, just not to interrupt you guys. So I'm looking over here on my screen. We're on this new platform, and I can see who's actually watching. So I know for sure we got one fan out there. You guys want to take a guess and who you think it is so far watching?
Ooh, I don't know. It just depends who's at home and has time right now.
Yeah, so
Who we got?
probably our number one fan. Um, that'll be a hint.
Is
mom?
that Mom?
Yeah, yeah, there she is. Hey, Mom, how you doing?
Love
We
you,
love you.
Mom.
So we got Mom out there watching, so that's great. We hope everybody gets a chance to watch the replays. What else? You guys got any other college teams you guys want to talk
Yeah.
about?
So speaking of South Dakota, I thought this was funny. Did you guys see who South Dakota State is playing this weekend?
I did
I mean,
not.
Uh,
so they're off to a pretty good start. They're looking good, and I look up in on my app on ESPN. They're playing Dixie State.
Dixie
I had to
State.
look it up. I've never even heard of that college. It's out of Utah,
Yeah,
apparently.
I've heard of it.
It must. I was like, that's a powerhouse for them to line up, but no. I was like, Dixie State, you would think would be, somewhere in the southeast or something, but it's out of
yeah,
Utah.
yeah,
I'd have to look up the.
Alabama or something.
I'd have to look it up and see what the line is on that one for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I thought that was funny. I saw that.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
good to
Notre
see.
Dame. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Notre Dame, man. They lost today. They could have lost a couple other games that they squeaked by. They just I don't know. They kind of let me down today. I didn't get to see a lot of it. I was trying to set up for the podcast and I was keeping an eye on them, but it didn't sound good. The noises coming from in there, so that was yeah, not good.
Yeah,
I was surprised at how many Cincinnati fans were Like the crowd, you could see how many red was in that stadium, which I don't know. I thought Notre Dame had a more of a stronghold on tickets there, but
I thought it looked
yeah,
like I
Cincinnati
thought it
looked
looked
good.
like Christmas because there was green in there and there was like some
Yeah,
golden red. I was like, it looks like a Christmas fan base.
Tree, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, you're right, Chris. There was a lot of Cincinnati fans, and I was listening at the end. I guess that quarterback they have is a fifth year returning, starter, and they got almost everybody returning, and they were good last year. But that's probably one of their biggest wins in school history for Cincinnati.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
what they're
sure.
saying on TV.
What's
Yeah,
that, Chris?
That's what they were saying on the broadcast. It was their biggest win in school history.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, that's we're early in the season. Some teams are jumping out quickly. Texas putting up some big points last week and get another win this week. And they got some big games coming up as well as some other teams.
one,
Looking
one of my
ahead,
favorite. Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say just one of my other little favorite teams, the Gophers. Man,
Yeah,
they started out the season, looking tough against Ohio State, and then they, laid down against what was it, Bowling Green. I think they were
yeah.
favored by like 30 points and they lost it, but they came back and beat Purdue today. So they're one of those teams that is kind of like a split personality. You don't know who's going to show up, but
Yeah, so
I always root for the Gophers.
yeah, the Gophers are one of those teams. We're Twins fans, and we are Gopher fans. Those are the two teams that we'll claim from there. Sometimes we'll root for the Timberwolves, as long as it's not affecting the Lakers or whoever other, maybe Houston, whatever you guys are rooting for down there. Arizona's not looking good football wise. They had their biggest loss this year against NAU. Uh, I I can't, I
U
think
of
it was
A.
1930, yeah, 1935 last time they lost to them. They got a new coach. They got a lot of young guys in there. They look like they're in games. They've been in a couple of games, um, but they're just not very good. We're actually going to the Washington game here in a couple of weeks on Jordan's birthday. Mary's got some friends coming down, and
Nice.
yeah, we're all going to go down and watch that game. I have a feeling we'll be out of there early and down on Fourth Avenue having a few beers.
Hey, that's always a good time too.
Yeah, and then the big talk again, what we were talking about earlier was Thanksgiving. We are October, right? So next month, we're coming down there, man. We're coming down to Houston. We're coming in deep. There's going to be quite a few of us. So we're coming in four deep, and we're gonna hang out at Dave's place. We're gonna have that place packed. There's gonna be dogs running all over the place, and um, it's gonna be a real Thanksgiving for sure. The game's gonna be on. Um, it's just gonna be a good time. Looking forward to it. Looks like Dave made some arrangements there in his kitchen, trying to move things around a little bit. I like what you did there today.
Yeah, just trying to switch it up. After a few years, you got to switch things up.
Yeah.
It does look good. I like it too, Dave.
Hey,
Thanks.
hey, are you getting text updates from Talia, Dave, or you- are you a little
Yeah,
worried?
so no, I'm not worried. She's okay. Colton's one I have to worry about. But for everybody listening out there, my daughter Talia, she's a freshman this year, and we went to it's homecoming weekend for her high school. We went to the homecoming game last night. As a family, we all went. It was a lot of fun. They got beat pretty good, but they came back at the end, made it a game. It was fun to watch. And then tonight she's out with her friends at homecoming dinner and then homecoming dance at the high school.
Oh,
So yeah, I'm sure you all see some pictures on Facebook about it. And
yeah.
yeah, I cried, a little teary eyed here because it's, she's getting old and my baby girl's starting to do things and go out in life. And
Well, I know them
so,
kids that most of them kids aren't on Facebook because it's not cool anymore. But at least they'll have this broadcast up, so she's gonna know that she's got two uncles and a big red-headed dad that's gonna be looking out for
yep, I got a couple shotguns.
her. That's awesome. Anything else? You guys got anything else you want to talk about? Or I mean, we had some good talks tonight. We covered a lot of material. Um, But we'll go ahead go with some closing comments. What you got? Anything, Chris?
Is mom still on?
It looks like it. It doesn't show me if she's off, but it just says she's looking. So yeah, I assume she's on there.
If she is, hello, mom, love you. Other than that, man, I don't know. Seen this story before with the Cowboys, having good years, and it's just hope for the best when the games, are in or December and January, and we actually get some W's in the playoffs, and you know, it's why we're sports fans, man. The roller coaster of it
Yeah.
and whatnot, and but yeah, it's not too much, man. It's a good time to be in Texas. I love this time of year, October. This is our time of year to really enjoy the weather, and we're coming out of that summer, and when we're getting into October, November, football and beautiful weather, good food, great holidays coming up, and yeah, just looking forward to it, and miss you guys.
Cool. Yeah. So, well, we got a lot of friends and family out there. We're talking NFL today and just football in general. So we don't want to, take up the entire podcast with Cowboys and what we all like. So I'm just going to run through real quick and talk about some of the big storylines that are happening in the NFL right now and beginning this year. So what's going on with Deshaun Watson? What's gonna happen with him, right?
Ooh,
We don't know. I mean,
wow.
there's teams out there that need quarterbacks. I could
They're
see somebody
they're
making a
asking too much
move, but
for him, right?
yeah, they're asking way too much. But at the same time, some of these teams, it's kind of do or die. They need a quarterback. But
Yeah. I think we'll see him
um,
later.
yeah,
Chris?
I, I don't think they're asking too much. They gotta wait to see what happens with the legal stuff. I mean, if he's cleared, then I don't think they're asking too much, but nobody's gonna pay that much and then be like, "Oh, you're gone for a year or two or whatever."
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a horrible situation, to be honest, man. Because for a couple of years, he was a great face for the city. To see the path that it's been taken, it's sad. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
try not to pay too much attention to it, but anyhow, go on.
Yeah. So moving on, let's go to the next storyline. Down in Jacksonville, Urban Meyer said he hung up the old coach's clipboard and said he's done with coaching, but he's back in the NFL, and he got his number one pick in Trevor Lawrence. And you know what? They're 0-4.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big story down there, and I guess they're gonna have to just be patient, but it's definitely a story,
He's lost more games or as many games in high school and college as he has in the NFL already.
right?
So he's
Yeah,
not used to
that's what
losing. I
he's a
like the
pretty bold.
I think he'll be okay. It's
Yeah, he
just
might be.
he'll be okay. He's got that NFL size, so I think he'll be all
Oh
right.
yeah, for
But
sure.
the team, I don't know. I honestly, I've seen this story before. These college coaches try to come in the NFL. There's only a few that have made it. I'll give a shout out to Jimmy Johnson. He's probably one of the best. There's a couple other guys, that
Pete,
have
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll.
Take
Yeah,
care of him.
yeah, he's made a good transition. But yeah, I agree, Dave.
Yeah.
That's a mess down there.
Next story, off season, big drama up in Wisconsin with uh, old Aaron Rodgers. Is he going to play or not? But they started out, they got just demolished by New Orleans. But hey, I think the drama's kind of quieted down a little bit after that big win. Was that in San Francisco they had?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
hate that. I don't like that guy.
too much,
nobody does unless you're a
Uh,
Green Bay fan.
too much time on the clock, right?
um,
Yeah.
get rid of that man bun first of all.
I told you,
It,
Chris, he's growing it out for his Halloween costume.
Well, if he's got a purpose, I'll respect that, I guess.
Yeah,
yeah.
the Green Bay's always going to be there. They're one of those teams. As long as Aaron Rodgers is back there and has some weapons, they'll be in the mix at the end. I just don't know how far they'll go.
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see where he goes next year. But
He's killed us before, hasn't he?
oh God, he's broken our heart.
Yeah.
But next big storyline, and this is right up your alley, John. You're able to go to Cowboys games, right? Last year, COVID shut down fans from seeing attendance at the stadiums. I think we had some partial attendance at the end there. I think Cowboys Stadium was one of them. But hey, NFL fans are back. That's a story,
Well,
right?
yeah, it's amazing. That that very fact that they didn't have fans last year. Mary and I had decided that we were going to make this trip out to LA and go to a road game. The other game that I didn't talk about, yeah, we're coming back for New Year's. We're coming back to Houston, and we're going to make that trip up to Dallas and see the Cowboys Cardinals, bringing the boys down there. And who knows, that game could have some huge implications for sure.
Yeah, I agree, Dave. Last year, Carson would get really mad at me for all sports during COVID. I couldn't enjoy it. I couldn't enjoy sports without the crowd, the atmosphere, and to me, that's so much of sports is like the stadiums and the environments and the home crowds and the field advantages. And we had the World Series all in Arlington in no fans, one location, an ugly stadium in my opinion anyhow. But I just so I was a really grumpy sports fan last year, and
Oh, you're
I wrote.
horrible, man. I had to mute you if
I
you
know
call.
you guys, man. I text you guys like
Oh,
Yeah,
screw this, and like this ain't real. This is the NBA bubble. So yes, I to see these college crowds and their home field, and NFL, it feels good that way for me.
yeah.
You
It was
know,
great to be there. I'm going to a college game, like I said. I'm going to the Washington game and then another NFL game. So it's awesome to have that experience, get that vibe going. And I think that one in Dallas is going to be something special. I wish you guys could make it up there on that one, but we'll see. That's a little ways away, and we'll go with that. Anything
yeah,
else
that's
there?
good.
Anything else, Dave?
Yeah,
What
that's
else you got?
no, that was good. I thought that was a good topic for John. You going to the games now, and I'm going to try to get to games next year. And Chris from last year hating that the fans were out. That was good. No, and just to touch one more about and stay on topic with COVID, and it was a big storyline kind of coming into the season. Our players going to be having to be deactivated because of COVID for a week, and we've seen a little bit of that. Um, but it doesn't seem to be a big story, as big of a story as I think we all thought it would be. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, we lost a guy, um, to the COVID and lost him for a couple weeks, and it's one of those. He didn't have any symptoms, but he has to have two negative tests before he comes back, so he missed some time, and it affected us, but. In the same sense, it's an injury. I consider it like an injury. Next man up. We always say that, man. That's how teams
True.
get through the 17 games this year. We got an extra game, got the extra wild card team. So there's going to be, a lot more going on this year, and those backup players got to come in and help out.
yeah. I don't know if I have much to add to it.
Yeah.
This COVID stuff has got me worn out, and I'm just glad that it seems like we're able to getting back to normal in some sense and just do things. Speaking of that, the Kyrie Irving thing is interesting. You know, that's a big story. Like because he he takes a stand on his own personal decisions and he don't waver. And
Hmm.
I don't know. That's a storyline that will probably start really be dominated by ESPN and make
What
ESPN what.
what is that? Is that because he thinks the Earth is flat?
Yeah.
No, no, I get you. He doesn't want the shot. Is that what it is, Chris?
The location where the arena is in Brooklyn requires proof of vaccination, and he doesn't. He's refusing to give it.
I gotcha.
So, so as of right now, wouldn't be able to play home games as a Brooklyn Net in his in so I think he's just trying to take a stance, and that's who he is, and that's okay. Like if that's all he's always been. So he's just making his voice heard by it. But well, that's going to be a big storyline next couple of weeks because I think NBA training camps open up here pretty darn quick.
Yeah, it does. I think you're right.
Did you see they moved the Maui Classic to Vegas?
Mm-mm.
I didn't
Didn't know
see that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, Maui's restrictions on COVID, so same teams are in it, but they're moving it to Vegas.
Interesting.
I
Interesting.
thought you'd like find that interesting. Speaking of Johnny being Forrest Gump, there's another tournament you've been to.
Yeah.
High
No,
school gym watching the best college basketball in Maui.
ran into Magic Johnson. Talked to him about
Yeah, right.
you guys. Yeah, we're running
Oh,
out of
wow.
time. We're running out of time
Yep,
here, guys. So we're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah, yeah.
wrap it up.
that's all I have.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That was some good stuff, Dave. I'm going to close out. That was a great transition. Maybe we'll talk some more about this on our next podcast. But shout out to my guy, Nate Renfro. Signed a 10-day contract. He's going to the Spurs. He's invited to camp. He was with the D League last year, but that invite is a big deal. That'll give him a chance and a shot at that two-way contract. I
Oh,
did
Big
coach.
Nate.
I coached him down when he was in club ball. He played with my son Jordan. Went to high school with him. Much love for the kid. He deserves all that success. He's a hard worker, and we're all rooting for him. So get at it, Nate, and we'll go out there. Maybe come down to Houston, drive down to San Antonio, and catch some Spurs games. What do you guys think?
Hey,
I
let's do
love
it.
that.
Yeah.
Love to
All
see Big Nate.
right. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks for hanging out with Lane Nation podcast. I hope you enjoyed our first live video. Let us know what you think. Put some comments in there, and we'll be back at you. We don't know when. We're having